Oh, true. Let's eat this one up real quick. 7.5 minutes, and I don't have to pay much attention to it. Here we go.
The point, what led to this, watching this VOD? Well, it's a twofer. One, for a lot of people who say, like, Hasan, you never debated Destiny, there are plenty of debates that you can go back and listen to where I'm, like, trying to educate him on this stuff. You will also see my consistency on the matter, and you will see how wrong he was and how lived up he was.
Lived up.
I don't know if I can find it. There was like a 12-minute video from my final thoughts, like in the eve of the 2020 election. There was another instance where I was actually debating Destiny on how Trump is a successful Republican. This is one clip from that.
How do you justify so saying with Destiny?
Why is he going back to debates from 4 or 5 years ago? What the?
He obviously uses pettiness to.
What the is this? No, that's not what I'm looking for. Hold on. Oh, here, Hasan on the rise of fascism back in 2020. Okay, there's 2 clips I want to show you. Okay.
Okay, 2
One
clips.
is
yes.
Something that I've been talking about since January 23rd, 2019 here. Okay, where back in the day when I thought that Destiny was a reformed person who wasn't like insane. Okay, a lot of people will be like, "Why are you so afraid of debating him?" Here's a video of me doing just that.
Why doesn't he talk to you now? If you are, if everything that you do like revolves around you lying about the other person, you can't have a confrontation with the other person because as soon as they start bringing stuff up, the whole illusion you've constructed of that person will fall apart. Hasan can never talk to me. He just can't. It would be unwinding so much of what he said about me for us to ever have a conversation.
In fucking Alabama. I mean, no, it doesn't seem like they considered a lot of things.
Yeah, no, I think that was a fucking Steve Bannon. That was a strategic mistake by Steve Bannon, and he got punished for it afterwards too.
Anyway, the point, what led to this, watching this VOD? Well, it's a...
Somebody, please.
Wait, fuck, I just got so mindfucked. Hold on. Wait, what was even the point of that clip that you just brought up?
The point, what led to this, there are something that I've been talking about since...
Long time anyway. But again, the corporations, these are things that
doing just that.
they care about more than you can just outsource your labor regardless for big stuff like tax breaks, tax cuts for the corporations. These are things that they by and large care about more than immigration. You can just outsource your labor regardless for, and that's what these companies have been doing for a very long time anyway. But again, things that like undermining the EBA, undermining the education, undermining housing, like, these aren't things that people are looking for. Not focusing on infrastructure. Like these aren't things that his base wants. He's doing this for big business. He's doing this for corporate interest.
Maybe.
How can you say maybe? Who's the?
I don't know, like different education or whatever.
I wonder we were arguing back here. I wonder in retrospect who. Let me check.
You're doing just that.
And large care about more than you can just outsource your labor regardless for big stuff like tax breaks, tax cuts for the corporations. These are things that they by and large care about more than immigration. You can just outsource your labor regardless for and that's what these companies have been doing for a very long time anyway. But again, things that like undermining the EPA, undermining the education, undermining housing, like these aren't things that like people are looking for. Not focusing on infrastructure, like these aren't things that his base wants. He's doing this for a big business. He's doing this for corporate interest.
Maybe.
How can you say maybe? Who is the?
I don't know what like defunding education or whatever has to do with corporate interest.
I don't know why it's sped up. I don't know why. I don't think we're going to be able to actually pay attention to a clip like this because you get...
Oh no, his prepared content not working out. You were saying that Trump isn't a good Republican because he's more populist. Oh, I remember this argument. I feel like my position has been proven to be absolutely true, right? Like Trump was never a traditional Republican. We've moved away a lot from the traditional Republican obsession with like, I say obsession, but they were like huge, they were corporate and big business simps. I don't think that the new Republican Party, the MAGA people, most of them are pretty anti-corporatist or anti-big business. Like, I guess now they are, but if Trump changed his mind, then I guess they would change with Trump. But I think that we've moved away from like the neocon corporate big business environment, like all that. That's what it feels like to me, at least. It still feels that way to me, I guess.
You guys are being too childish, I think. Like, Reddit player does not...
Oh, he's getting triggered by chat. Oh, no.
Education or whatever has to do with corporate interest.
I don't know why it's sped up. I don't know why. I don't think we're going to be able to actually pay.
Oh, wait. Is he getting mad because I read this in the chat and then I see this stop. I saw people saying that a bunch of people in his chat are asking him like, hey, please stop talking about Destiny. Please stop, please stop, please stop. Oh, there's also Real Voice, good Shabino impression. Your old mic was whack. Hasan Shapiro, Bin Shapiro. Oh, no.
I don't know why. I don't think we're going to be able to actually pay attention to a clip like this because you guys are being too childish, I think.
Real
like,
Voice.
Reddit
Thank you, Ben Shapiro.
player does not have speed controls. Chat represents the streamer. No, there's no way to make it slower. There's no right clicking, dude. What are you talking about? There's nothing.
Because if you defund education, all of a sudden you can make a justification not only for tax cuts, for further
It's funny because his voice is higher and it's fast. He sounds like a chipmunk. It's good.
tax cuts, because every time, and it's called starving the beast. Every time you
His goal
This is from a video. This is from a YouTube video of like my debate in 2019 with Destiny, back when we were cordial. And my argument was that Donald Trump is a normal Republican and a very successful Republican.
Oh, but how can you argue that, right? Like, does he really think the test of time has proven his position on that correct? Donald Trump is absolutely not a normal Republican. He's like captured the entire Republican Party and excised anybody that's pushed back against him. People that might have even had more traditional neocon, traditional Republican views. He's very much like a super populist in ways that prior Republicans weren't. Even Republicans like Pence and Barr and other Republicans like broke away from him.
Okay, and that he is, doing the top line agenda of the Republican Party at the time. I just don't know
Can
where
afford to be a little bit shittier to customers because you know that you're not going to have as much.
I don't know
competition.
exactly where it was though in this conversation.
The absolute bare minimum by like 1 or 2 votes in order for them to actually
The
with
Republican
McCain cost
voter
them
base. Hold on,
healthcare.
hold on,
Like,
hold on, hold on.
Oh,
a
here.
Republican figure that has been at ends with Trump multiple times. McConnell has been at ends with Trump multiple times. Like all of these like Republican leaders. Pence himself has gotten burned by Trump multiple times. Trump has had massive amounts
Paul
of
Ryan
influence in his
did,
fucking cabinet. And everybody that's left has had shitty things to fucking say about him.
True.
Even well-respected people like Tillerson. How can you look at all the divisiveness
Rex Tillerson, his Secretary of State? Yeah.
Trump has stirred up in the Republican Party and then say that no, he's actually like really good at unifying the Republicans?
I'm not saying he's good at unifying the Republican politicians, but ultimately he's good at unifying the
with
Republican
McCain cost
voter
them
base. Hold on,
healthcare.
hold on. He's good at unifying the Republican base of voters, and you're focusing on like one symbolistic John McCain vote to say that like the entire Republican Party is not backing Donald Trump, even though, oh my God, I want to murder every single person who's saying Hasan is out of his death. I want to murder them so hard right now.
When we debate in the past, a lot of people don't have the context for this, but this also triggered me. I was just good at not letting it show. Although that's why I did the big debate with Kamala. I was still like a gamer guy, right? Remember, nobody did politics on Twitch before I did for about 2 years, and I got shit on it by everybody for doing it because it was a website for gaming and sometimes IRL stuff. I don't know if that even started happening yet. So I was still known as like a gamer guy. And then when Hasan comes on after asking me for debate advice, Hasan is like the real life politics guy. So when me and Hasan would debate, I had to kind of like navigate those debates really carefully because Hasan is supposed to be like the expert, and I think he's even credentialed, right? Doesn't he have like a degree in poli-sci or something? And I'm just like the gamer bro. And anytime somebody would say something implying that like Hasan didn't know something, my audience would push back against me saying, hey, you're being really disrespectful. And then Hasan's audience would be like, oh, are you out of your depth on this? And I'm like, bro, I'm the politics guy. He's just a gamer dude. That was a little, it was a lot of,
Murder every single person who's saying Hasan is out of his death. I want to murder them so hard right now in a video game. Okay.
Fucking ban him, dude.
All right. I can't. There's too many. All right. So I don't have enough money.
Not gonna lie, you sound so weird. Yeah, it's because I'm using a fucking Blue Yeti. All right. Notice how like even in this conversation, Destiny's fans immediately fucking rush to be like, oh, you're out of your depth. And I was 100% correct on this in this argument that I presented.
why is he
Moderators.
It's so crazy to me. He's going back 5 years to try to claim that he was right in some argument. And I don't even know if I really don't think he is. I mean, I guess if we hardcore got into the weeds, because he's saying, for instance, that Donald Trump, what did he say before? Donald Trump like got all the Republicans to vote for him, all the Republican support. And I would disagree with that. And I would say Donald Trump changed the Republican Party into the MAGA Party and like cannibalized the Republicans. That might be splitting hairs, and maybe we actually do fundamentally agree, and this is like a semantic distinction, although I think there's a real distinction in content here because of how we view it, but I don't know.
As far as the Republican Party goes, you say that the Republican Party is divided, yet they vote for 90% of the things that Donald Trump wants. So obviously they're not that divided. Obviously there's
That's such a one-dimensional way of looking at it. Of course,
so
Republicans
what are they divided on? That like they don't like Donald Trump's perspective? Like they don't like the way that he talks? Sure, but that doesn't mean that the party's actually divided. The party is very happy because the donors are very happy.
I wonder when he says party, I wonder if we're talking different things because like the party is not happy. The constituents were happy to become like part of like the MAGA movement, but the party itself was enraged. Establishment Republicans had no control over Trump. Trump would fight against so many like well-established conservatives. He was a bad lawmaker. He wasn't like able to pass legislation or anything. He was incredibly unpopular broadly in the electorate. He couldn't get anything done with Democrats. I don't think the party was happy with Trump at all. I mean, they got like court picks, but if he just means like the voters maybe are the voters were happy to become MAGA. Yeah,
Voters are very happy.
If
The
all of
party's
them are
also
so happy, then
because
why
they're
is it that
electing.
so many districts that went so heavy for Trump ended up swaying Democrat when it came time to vote for the midterms? Like there
true.
are tons of people in the Republican Party that have these massive issues with Trump and his numbers.
and this was true also in 2022, where Trump candidates pretty dramatically underperformed, but for a variety of reasons. But yeah.
The candidates that he's backed for some of these elections did not turn out the numbers that they expected him to. It was a monumental failure for the House, and
because
even to some extent.
I think the Roy Moore stuff might have happened by this point as well, which was a big failure as well. Arizona and Nevada, I think both flipped, which were big deals. This is in 2019 though, right? So I don't know if the Georgia Senate stuff had happened yet. No, the Arizona Nevada stuff was were these Senate and House races or were these fuck, I don't remember. It's been too long now, actually. I don't know. But
for some of the Senate races.
Yeah,
when it came
because
time to
Donald
do those
Trump is very
midterms.
divisive in the sense that a lot of people who normally wouldn't have voted are now going out to vote against Donald Trump. This is not to say that like Republicans are like, oh my God, I feel terrible about voting for Donald Trump, so I'm going to turn around and actually vote for a Democrat. No, there's just more people voting Democrat that didn't vote or that don't historically vote in midterms. That's what this is. It has absolutely nothing to do with like Trump's policies or whatever. They just hate Donald Trump. There are a lot of Americans who find Donald Trump to be an incredibly divisive figure who's terrible, and they're right. They are absolutely right about Donald Trump being a divisive and terrible figure for American politics, and that's why they're going out and voting. That's why the precedented turnout.
All right.
And Republicans are not showing up because they're happy.
I feel like we're using like this feels like Bernie math right now. Like if Donald Trump goes out and the reason why less people went out to vote for Donald Trump was actually because Donald Trump was so good that people were so happy with him that they didn't go out and vote. I feel like we're in Bernie
Yeah, that's
math
historically
territory
what
right now.
happens with the party in the party that holds majority power. Yes.
it is true that the party that holds the majority power or the party that wins the presidency, I think, tends to lose in the midterms. I think that's usually true, but I don't think it's because people are happy. I think it's usually because people have complaints about everything, right? Isn't that? Does the Blue Yeti actually destroy base like that? No. I don't know why he said that. He's just... I don't know how bass boosted his mic is now or not. I'm not sure. I don't know.
For the base, that works well for the voters. But the big stuff like tax breaks, tax cuts for the corporations, these are things that they by and large care about more than the immigration. You can just outsource your
You met Hasan in real life and heard him speak. What's his voice like? I don't know. It could also be that well, no, it's not like he's EQ'd the mic. It's a Blue Yeti. What does he sound like?
And haven't been able to get a contract for 3 years.
So I mean, here this is not like a bass boosted mic. So I mean, here you can hear his.
And haven't been able to get a contract for 3 years. And I saw these dudes, and I was like, these guys look like real fucking. I mean, they got the leather neck. You know what I mean? They look like cops, right? So I was like, these guys are brought enjoyers. Okay, you know what I'm talking about? Real Polish.
So I mean, I don't know whatever voice you think is real. All the voices.
You can outsource your labor regardless for the and that's what these companies have been doing for a very long time anyway. But again, things that like undermining the EPA, undermining the education, undermining housing, like these aren't things that like people are looking for. Not focusing on infrastructure, like these aren't things that his base wants. He's doing this for big business. He's doing this for corporate interests.
Maybe.
How can you say maybe? Who is the?
I don't know what like defunding education or whatever has to do with corporate interests. I can get with you on like the EPA and stuff, but...
because if you defund education, all of a sudden you can make a justification not only for tax cuts, for further tax cuts, because every time it's called starving the beast. Every time you further undermine a federal agency.
I know. You don't have to. Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
But like,
So every time
even if this was his goal, his way to do this wouldn't be nominated.
I should have leaned in harder. Well, I mean, at the time we genuinely didn't know. But no, Trump's obsession with education, I don't think is part of the Republican mainstream plan. I think it's like a weird authoritarian, like I want to re-educate all of America type plan. I don't think it's like a roundabout way to do tax cuts. I think
Nominating Betsy DeVos. It would be to do something more insidious. Like these aren't things.
Wait, no. Betsy DeVos is the perfect person. She has a track record of privatization in Michigan. She's like always been a fucking advocate for private education. That's exactly what that's exactly why he put Betsy DeVos in a position of power, even though she's a fucking idiot.
Okay. It just seemed like when I look at his appointments, like Betsy or like Ben Carson or whatever, it seems it's more just like random that he sees on Fox
No,
News.
dude, these aren't fucking random shits that he's putting in positions.
that he sees on Fox News, like his current appointment to is the Department of Homeland Security, who's the guy that he grabbed off Fox News this time.
So you think that,
especially
like, his
Betsy
personal-
DeVos.
What about, didn't he literally do this with like a Secretary of Defense or something? Who was the guy that he saw on Fox News that he made like one of his like chief attorneys or something? Like, or why Giuliani working with him? Is it because Giuliani's actually like a really talented lawyer? Like he gets advice from this guy for like executive orders.
I know,
and
but
shit.
that
You
has
think he's
nothing to
doing it
do.
'cause he's
I know,
taking-
but yeah, no, Trump is a moron. I'm not sitting here and saying that.
Wait,
he's
okay, wait,
intelligent.
stop! You keep playing both worlds. You can't.
Shut up. I feel like Hasan comes across as more knowledgeable here than I've seen him in the last 4 years. Well, yeah, I mean, like he was in my ecosystem and atmosphere, and like we're having debates and arguments and stuff. So it's going to be more substantive than what he does on stream now. Now he just does like pure fucking propaganda. Even though we disagree here, we're at least having like a decent conversation, right? Like he knows names, he's talking ideology, we're talking implementation, we're comparing it to prior party. Like this is a different, this is like an actual conversation. Yeah.
Can't tell me that Trump is a fucking moron.
Isn't that what Trump's doing right now? To a certain degree, yes. He's
Yes, he is doing crazy, like not like big corporate stuff, but like crazy, fashy, I guess, like authoritarian, like reprogram, re-educate people. Like
gotten way worse at this than the last time around. But you will see exactly what I mean here. Okay, you will understand in a second when I
But then also say
describe it.
Trump is actually intentionally choosing the best. You keep.
Do
trying
you
to
really
have it
think
both
that Donald
ways.
Trump is doing all of these on his own? Like, I don't understand. Why can't Trump be a absolute moron but still be a strong man, charismatic leader that appeals to Republicans?
Wait, so who
and
is
also-
controlling Trump now? Now that
It's
now
not
that,
a control thing. Like,
it was people like crazy people like fucking Bannon and shit who are ideologically driven, not like big corporate driven. I would say, and I feel like history is showing me to be correct on that, but
there are still handlers, aides, a load of advisors that are around Donald Trump that are trying to that are giving him the cabinet appointments. Like he can't just turn. He's not like turning around and saying.
A lot of these used to come from Bannon, and then Bannon is gone now. So I don't know who's like the chief handler.
It was not Bannon.
Not just
of
one
Trump at this
person.
point.
It's not just like Steve Bannon isn't the only person capable of telling Donald Trump who to appoint for these positions.
I'm sure that please stop spamming about Brittany fucking Simon. No one cares. Holy shit.
Well, no, now he listens to Fox and Friends, and
No, it's not. Do you really think that Donald Trump exclusively sits in front of the television and like makes these decisions? And
He does. That's the saddest thing is, yeah, he literally does. He literally calls into fucking Fox and Friends and shit. Yeah, that's so sad, but it's true. He does.
now there aren't
Yes.
aides.
This was one of the
I'm
huge-
sure-
This is such like liberal brain right here. It is like Donald Trump does not have anyone in his corner that's telling him like these are the guys that you need to appoint.
I'm sure that there are for things like the judiciary and stuff he's getting because he doesn't know anything about it. But like, yeah, Trump literally watches TV and gets like ideas and shit for the Pete Hegseth guy who's literally a Fox News host, right? Who's now possibly going to be our head of the DOD or whatever, right?
Just sitting there and exclusively getting his nose from Fox and Friends. I'm not saying he's not getting it from Fox and Friends, but if you think that like he wasn't firmly doing exactly what the Heritage Foundation and the American Enterprise Institute was telling him to do, you're out of your dang mind. Okay?
that there are places. I'm sure that there are things that he does, like when he tweets.
About passing a new budget. One of the biggest problems was that Pence walked to Congress and then came back to President Trump with a deal in hand that Trump already approved. But because he'd been listening to pundits on Fox News, he shot it down and sent Pence back to Congress, telling them that they need.
Oh, I feel like I remember this. This was a huge fuck you backstab moment to Pence, wasn't it? Was this over the government shutdown or was it over something different? I think they had a budget that they had approved in hand, and I think Pence ended up going to Trump with it. Yeah, and Trump was like, "Actually, I think this isn't good." And it took more time to. Oh shit, bro. Trump's presidency was bad and wild. And it's crazy to me that nobody remembers this. I'm pretty sure, didn't we have the longest government shutdowns in all of US history under Trump? Let me check. Hold on. I don't want to make that up. When were longest government shutdowns? Most significant included the 21-day shutdown of 95 to 96 during Clinton. Am I making this up for Trump? Maybe I am making it up. Wait, government shutdowns. The phone was being stir load. Caused by a dispute over the ACA. Oh, wait. The most significant ones included a 21-day shutdown from 95 to 96 during Bill Clinton's administration over opposition to major spending cuts, the 16-day shutdown in 2013 during the Barack Obama administration caused by a dispute over implementation of the Affordable Care Act, and the longest, the 35-day shutdown of 2018 to 2019 during Trump was caused by a dispute over expanding barriers on the U.S.-Mexico border. So Trump had the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. It's crazy that people are like, it was a great presidency. My God. Fuck, how did I even forget this? This is also... Wait. Is funding the government through like budget reconciliation and stuff, is this stuff that can be done with simple majorities? Because Trump literally had, I believe in 2018, he still had both halves of Congress. So he had the House and he had the Senate. He had the House and the Senate. And they couldn't fund the government. Just like when they had the majority in the House under Biden, I think, right? A couple years ago. They had the majority in the House and they lost their speaker seat. Jesus Christ.
Needed a new deal after Democrats and Republicans had already made concessions to each other to agree on legislation. Yeah, Trump.
These two things are not mutually exclusive. He does both. He does it when he sees something and gets riled up and he tweets it out. But he absolutely, when he's making when these bigger decisions are happening, like as far as cabinet appointees and shit, there are absolutely other aides that give him the people that he's putting in positions of power. Do you really think that Donald? Okay, let me ask you this much.
Okay.
As far as Supreme Court justices, how do you think Donald Trump chose? Do you think it was on Fox and Friends?
I am not sure. I don't know for the.
I didn't know anything about it. So apparently there's like the FedSoc Society, I guess, are the people who makes like a ton of recommendations for judges and whatnot. But I mean, Trump has sycophants. So I mean, I don't know what the point of this is.
First couple.
He went to the Federalist Society, dude. Of course. Do you like this is how it works. You go to the
But like judges and judge appointments are a lot different than like, is Trump representing like a mainstream corporate agenda for is Trump representing a mainstream corporate agenda for corporate America? I don't think it's true. There is one thing that Hasan could bring up right now, though, to reinforce this point a lot. That would currently support his argument here, but he's not going to know it. I'll wait a second and I'll see if he actually brings it up. But I don't think he knows. I don't think he follows any real politics anymore. That's not on Twitter, so I don't know if he'll know it. Let's see.
Federalist Society.
Every single leak that has ever come from the White House, whether we're talking about the multiple books that have been written by that one guy, I should remember the name. It's like
no,
Burn
that guy's
or Fire.
that guy's an idiot, dude. He's a known liar. He was embellishing half the shit. I know what you're talking about. What the fuck's his name?
Wait, you think that whole book was just fake shit?
No, not the whole book, but like there's plenty
Woodward.
of fucking
You think
things.
Woodward? You think everything in there?
No,
was
not
like,
Woodward. No, not Woodward. Okay, we're talking about two different things then. I'm talking about. Fuck, what is Fire and Fury? Who wrote that?
Oh
shit?
yeah, that one might have been highly whatever the Woodward book was.
Oh my God! Even back then, I was having an issue with Bob Woodward versus Michael Wolff. Even back then, I was confusing Bob Woodward with Michael Wolff.
Hasan doesn't know anything about any politics. What Hasan should be bringing up is he should go, well, Destiny, remember how hard Donald Trump fought for his Supreme Court picks? Well, what's one of the most important and classic Supreme Court cases that gave more leniency to the federal government being to regulate things? Chevron. And didn't they overturn it, Destiny? That was a huge case that they overturned. It basically upended all of business law, but he doesn't know the case, so he can't even bring that up as an argument in his favor, because Chevron did get overturned because of Trump's court picks. So
That's so funny.
Yeah, Michael Wolff is ridiculous. Bob Woodward is not. Bob Woodward, a lot of the things that he said. No, Bob Woodward is reputable. And I'm not saying that the fucking Trump. I'm not saying that like the Trump administration isn't in chaos. But when it comes to like very important things, when it comes to cabinet appointees, or when it comes to things like Supreme Court justices, Trump is not that big of a fucking moron. He still understands that he needs to adhere to specific guidelines put in front of him, and that's exactly what he's.
That was this last year. I can't mention it in 2019. No, I'm saying that Hasan right now could say, look, Destiny, I was right. Trump does care about the corporate shit. Overturning Chevron is an example of how the Supreme Court aligned with corporate interests. He could bring that up now, but he doesn't know he doesn't know anything.
No, the Kavanaugh stuff was pretty iffy. I feel like they could have went with a much safer pick on that.
I mean,
after
you
his history and
personally
everything.
think that, but at that point they had to fucking double down. You think they didn't consider this? Like they shouldn't have went with
I don't know.
Kavanaugh.
Do you think they considered things heavily when they went with fucking Roy Moore and they lost that seat in that special election or whatever in fucking Alabama? I mean, no, it doesn't seem like they considered a lot of things.
Yeah, no, it was I think that was a fucking Steve Bannon. That was a strategic mistake by Steve Bannon, and he got punished for it afterwards too.
Anyway,
What is Hasan hoping? I feel like this is. If somebody were to ask me, would Hasan show this conversation? I would speak with a high level of certainty that Hasan would not show this conversation to a stream. Am I supposed to look unhinged here or look crazy? I don't know if somebody listening would think that I necessarily got the better of him in that conversation, although someone in his audience literally said, isn't this kind of true now? And Hasan was like, yeah, kind of is true. But I don't know what the point is of sharing this full conversation to his audiences. But
what led to this watching this VOD? Well, it's a twofer. One, for a lot of people who say, like,
wait, hold on.
watching this VOD.
Punished for it afterwards too.
Anyway, what led to this watching this VOD? Well, it's a twofer. One, for a lot of people who say, like, Hasan, you never debated Destiny, there are plenty of debates that you can go back and listen.
2019. What the fuck? Also, yeah, where's the commentary in this video? Like, why not tell your audience, like, these are all the insanely stupid, crazy, horrible things that Destiny said? Like,
listen to, where I'm like trying to educate him on this stuff.
oh my God, he's got such a he's so insecure. Holy shit.
You will also see my consistency on the matter, and you will see how wrong he was and how libbed up he was. Okay.
What does any of this have to do with being wrong or libbed up? Also, Hasan is giving, well, hold on. No. I was going to say, Hasan is giving the more libbed up take because I'm aiming it more in like a scary fascist direction, and Hasan is just keeping it like politics as usual, corporate supporter direction. But I guess you could argue it's like a leftist take to say that the president will be aligned with corporate interests, class interests, over like the proletariat. You could say something.
Yeah, this has literally 70,000 views from fucking 2019, you know?
What's the, okay.
But secondly, and perhaps more importantly, the reason why I pointed to this is because I wanted you to see that, I wanted you to see how Donald Trump still maintains support from the institutional Republican Party. Okay? This isn't even...
Trump has the only, like, you have to support Trump or he'll destroy you. But it's not like the institutional Republicans are happy about it. Like, Trump has fundamentally altered the party. And you can see all the infighting. You can see how much Trump has torn the Republican Party apart.
In the best debate of yours? Probably not, but it doesn't even matter. Party.
Did somebody,
okay?
What did they
this
say?
Isn't even the best debate of yours? Probably not, but it doesn't even matter. Anyway, my point is, Donald Trump still satisfies the needs of the corporate oligarchs. And this is the reason why this aged well after his election. Holy shit. I mean, everything I've said has aged well. If you go back far enough in time, you will hear me say the same exact fucking things over and over again for the past decade at this point. Okay? Anyway, yeah, I am not wrong, simply too early. History always ends up vindicating me, even though...
I am not wrong, simply too early. That means that you're wrong. That's like saying, like, bro, what happened to all your shorts on Tesla? I know, man. I made the right call, just at the wrong time. Like, yeah, that's every prediction ever. Like, if you say anything, it'll come true eventually. Like, what do you mean? Like, also, the claim has never been Destiny and Hasan have never debated in the history of their whole lives. What are we even talking about here?
That's not necessarily a good thing, because all the bad things that I predicted end up happening, and that sucks. Anyway. But the point was, at the time, people were making it seem like this was a unique thing, that Donald Trump was a unique and very different type of Republican. And
he kind of is, yeah.
I maintain the position that he was not a unique Republican, but he was very much the logical continuation of Republican mania. Okay? If you were to put, okay, since you refuse...
There is an underlying truth to what he's saying here, but he's not right when he says it, because I don't think he understands why. Like, I think that there is an argument to be made that the types of concessions the Republicans made, the types of rhetoric Republicans engaged in, the types of behavior that the politicians and the culture exhibited, like created the conditions possible for people like Trump to emerge, right? The Tea Party, I think, largely gave way to that, and the Republicans gave way to the Tea Party, right? So that is correct, but he's making some other way different argument. He's saying some other way different shit.
Use the platform any Ukrainians. You should Aaron B yourself. Fire, fire, fire. You're worthless, tanky fans too. Ukraine over Palestine. What? I should self-immolate? Are you okay? You got the weirdest haters. It's funny because he's a Labor voting Chad. Anyway, moving on. Probably a British Labor supporter. The other thing I wanted to show you guys, but this analysis was prescient for the time, and it's gotten only worse. But the other thing I wanted to show you was the growth of fascism in this country. This is the reason. This is from Trump's Make America Great Again rally. This is last rally, I believe, before the 2020 election.
Why I closely track Trump's rhetoric and his followers is because I understand the long-term consequences of this kind of messaging being successful, especially within the Republican Party. It's not just about watching like a dude who these.
Wow, good cut.
Senate Judiciary Committee.
Also, if I buy everything Hasan is saying here, and he was educating me and owning me, and he was so smart, why would he not continue to do so? Really makes you think. Okay, listen to Sammy for a little bit. I don't know how long we'll.
Is express her understanding that this issue is racist.
Do I really need to listen to this?
This is Sam Harris. So the reckoning has arrived. Donald Trump has been reelected president of the United States, and it seems like he's going to have both houses of Congress. Of course, we know he already has the Supreme Court. And the question is, what to make of all this? Why did he win, and why did the Democrats lose? Well, first, we should acknowledge that this is the greatest comeback in American political history. It's as if Nixon got reelected to a second term after Watergate. It's better than that, or worse, depending on what you think about Trump. Luckily, I hedged my bet here, and I never said anything too critical about the man. I've always been very respectful of him and Elon and the other innovators they have around them. I mean, let's be honest, these guys just want to make America great again. Can't you just give them a chance? All kidding aside, I will let you know when I receive my first audit from the IRS. But what I think is needed now is an honest assessment of why Trump won. Because it says a lot about our country that he did. It says a lot about how divided we are. It says a lot about the state of the media and the effects of social media. But above all, it says something that the Democratic Party and our elite institutions need to hear. Now, obviously, Trump's win and Harris's loss were determined by many factors. And I think everyone's in danger of believing that their pet issue explains everything that happened on Tuesday.
True.
Now, you could certainly make the case that it was immigration and the southern border, or it was inflation and the cost of groceries. You could even say it was the way Trump responded to that first assassination attempt, which, among other things, prompted Elon Musk to endorse him within minutes. Or it was Harris's weakness as a candidate and the way the Democratic Party coronated her, rather than allow some competitive process to happen. Or you could say that the blame lies with Biden himself and his disastrous decision to run for a second term. That was pure hubris. And of course, this blame extends to all the people who covered for him and lied to themselves or to the public about his competence for over a year. Some of this culpability fell on Harris herself. What did she know about Biden, and when did she know it? She never had a good answer for that question. Or to come to one of my hobby horses, it was her failure to have anything like a Sister Soldier moment, where she could put some distance between her current self and the Kamala Harris of 2019, who seemed to be in lockstep with the far left of the Democratic Party. The truth, of course, is that all of these things contributed, and if one or two of them had changed, we would have had a different result. But the Harris campaign and the Democratic Party, in the last 100 days before the election, weren't in control of most of these variables. They could have messaged differently about all of them, and I think it would have been possible to talk about inflation and immigration better than they did. But their real failure, in my view, was to not pivot to the political center in a way that most people found credible. So to return to my hobby horse, I think there are some lessons that the Democrats really must absorb from what is undeniably a total political defeat. They simply have to recognize that several planks of their platform are thoroughly rotten. Identity politics is over. No one wants it. Latinos and blacks don't even want it, as witnessed by the fact that they moved to Trump in record numbers. Trump got a majority of Latino men nationwide, and in some counties he got a majority of Latino men and women, even after everything he has said about immigrants from Latin America over the years. How they're, quote, poisoning the blood of our people, which is right out of Mein Kampf. A comedian calls Puerto Rico a pile of garbage at a Trump rally, and the entire Democratic machine and all of liberal media seize upon it like a nuclear bomb has just vaporized an American city, and no one cared. Identity politics is dead.
I think, okay. Continue to work on this, and then I'll make a video once I do this. I'm going to do like a couple of these or one or two of these a day. I think Harris is falling for the... Holy shit. I just realized Sam Harris and Kamala Harris. Are they related? They have the same last name. I feel like Sam Harris is falling for this thing, the setting the media agenda, that even on platforms where there are no right-wing voices, it feels like conservatives, or it feels like the conversations that we have publicly are almost entirely controlled by right-wing talking points. that like the whole trans stuff and the DEI. Like, how many times did Kamala Harris bring up her support for trans people and DEI and CRT? Like, the only people that talk about this are Republicans. Those are the only people that talk about this. And then it's like, and so they win. And it's like, yeah, people don't like all this DEI, CRT, trans stuff. And then it's like, yeah, the Democrats definitely need to stop talking about it. It's like, no, they don't. We don't. What do you mean? It was the Republicans. They talk about this all the time. No one talks about this on the left.
And we have to bury it. Okay, there's one species of identity politics that had an enormous effect on this election, and most Democrats don't seem to realize it. Around 0.5% of American adults identify as transgender or non-binary. That's 1 in 200 people.
Oh, boy.
And yet the activism around this identity has deranged our politics for as long as Trump has been in politics. One lesson I would be quick to draw from this election is that Americans aren't really into seeing biological men punch women in the face at the Olympics. And if that sounds like transphobia to you...
Yeah, but first of all, it's the Olympics. It's an international thing. Like, this is not a Democrat thing. Like, how many center-left Democrats are supporting this? Like, it's crazy lefties on Twitter, and then it's Republicans amplifying it. Like, who are the center-left politicians that are talking about this trans stuff all the time?
You're the problem. Political equality, which we should want for everyone, does not mean that trans women are women. Trans women are people and should have all the political freedom of people. But to say that they are women and that making any distinction between them and biological women for any purpose is a thought crime and an act of bigotry, that is the precept of...
You were wrong about the trans Olympic stuff at the time. One, I 100% was not. And two, I still don't know if anything has come out even showing that she is trans or intersex. I don't know if anything has been released on that at all. I'm not aware of it if it is, but I was not wrong about anything that I said at the time about that.
A new religion. And it's a religion that most Americans want nothing to do with. I want to be very clear about this. I have no doubt that there are real cases of gender dysphoria. And for those people, we should want to give them all the help they need to feel comfortable in their own bodies and in society. How we think about this, how we understand it scientifically, all of that is still in flux. But there are 4-year-olds who, apropos of nothing...
I think the point he wants to make is that Democrats failed at basically saying what you said some time ago, that trans women and women in sports is not good. Yeah, but like you can do it, but you can't live in the conservative criticism all the time. Okay? You can't do this because then it's like when I'm on Piers, you have to have an environment like that and you have to do it like Destiny. Okay? So Piers asks me, hey, Destiny, do you disavow what you said about the firefighter? Then I ask Ruben, how do you feel about January 6th? Well, there was a lot of Antifa there. There was a lot of, no, then fuck you. No, I don't. Fuck that. And I won't. Never in front of these motherfuckers. Ever. Right? It's bullshit that a Republican can do anything and then run this whole right-wing media circuit and never get held accountable for a single thing. And then when they're being accused of stuff, just launch attacks on the left. And then when the left candidate goes on their left-wing media circuit, now it's like, how do you feel about Biden? You said bullseye. Don't you think that's bad? Like, Kamala, didn't you have an issue with this? And don't you guys have issue? And Walls, what about that thing you said about China? Like, it's so uneven and it's so stupid. And it's like, well, no, the Democrats need to do better at what? At constantly self-flagellating while, flagellating always sounds like the fart word. Wait, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. No, this is stupid. Go on the attack more. This is dumb. It shouldn't be like, we just want you guys to know that, we don't think that trans women should be in blah, blah. It shouldn't be that. It should be that Kamala should come out on stage and she should say, we need to call for more transparency in our political candidates. I want to see the Pornhub search histories of every Republican candidate because these motherfuckers must be beating it off, okay? Constantly beating their meat to girl dick for them to be this fucking obsessed about trans issues, okay? It is unfathomable. I think that Republicans are banning porn in some of these fucking states because they can't help themselves, okay? But jerk their dicks off to girl cock constantly with how much these motherfuckers talk about it. I'm not talking about this shit. Democrats aren't talking about this shit. Why the fuck are you talking about it so much? Do something about the fucking border or talk about the economy. That's what people care about more, right? Supposedly.
Nothing will claim to be in the wrong body. You know, they're born a boy, but they insist that they're really girls. And they never waver from this. And it's pretty obvious in those cases that something is going on neurologically, hormonally, at the core of their being that is not a matter of them having been influenced by the culture. But conversely, there now seem to be countless examples where the possibility of social contagion is obvious, where due to the success of trans activists in changing institutions, these kids are effectively in a cult, being brainwashed by a new orthodoxy. These are radically different cases, and we should not be bullied into considering them to be the same. Now, I've spoken to many Democrats in recent years, and over the course of this election, and a shocking percentage of them imagine that all the controversy about trans rights and gender identity in kids is just right-wing bigotry and a non-issue politically. Whereas it is obvious that for millions of Americans, it might as well have been the only issue in this election. Not because they are transphobic assholes.
I don't think Americans were voting on trans issues. If you say you are, what you're really voting on is this vision of America that Republicans have sold you. And it's a whole delusional, it's a cloth that's been pulled over your eyes to obscure reality from you. And this is like what you think. It's not like an actual honest engagement with what's going on. I don't believe that at all.
But because they simply do not accept the new metaphysics and even new biology mandated by trans activists and the institutions that they have successfully bullied and captured. And it's important to say that not all trans people agree with what these activists say and do. Having the thought police suddenly proscribe the use of the term woman and demanding that we speak instead of birthing person or menstruators or people with ovaries or some other Orwellian construction designed to test everyone's patience and sanity. The sight of people being deplatformed on social media or fired from universities for merely stating that there are two biological sexes.
Like, some of this stuff is crazy and wacky, for sure. But it's like, these are things happening at like academic institutions. Why is it? Like, can you please riddle me this? How is it that things happening in schools, the Republicans are able to project that over the entirety of the Democratic Party, but the Republicans are able to escape everything that they're involved in? How does that make sense? Can you imagine, I've said this a million times, I'll say it again. Can you imagine, geez, is Destiny just refusing to listen to why your side lost? You understand that you guys don't even accept the results of the 2020 election, right? Like, you can never, ever, ever use that argument. You have absolutely zero ground to stand on for that argument, ever, right? I pray that you remember to keep swallowing and don't actually like inhale and suffocate on Trump's fucking load, okay? As you're gulping down the buckets of fucking cum from this guy.
On social media or fired from universities.
Yeah, if the left had any equivalent of Andrew Tate, like, it would be over. Like, there's so much shit that the right can just get away with that the left is like Andrew Tate is like actually Epstein. Or like the worst version of what people thought Epstein was. Like, he talks to fucking minors, tries to draft them into some weird fucking cam business, like works them in a fucking basement while scamming them for their taxes as a fucking pimp prostitute guy who's got videos of him like smacking women, but that's just a fucking fetish kink, right? Somehow Epstein, who's not even like a Democratic operative, that nobody on the left supports, by the way, somehow Epstein gets tied strongly to Democrats, even though Trump and Elon are both in pictures with the guy all the fucking time, right? And then the right wing is like, Tate, actually, he's innocent of everything. We're not going to talk about that. And it's like, what?
For merely stating that there are two biological sexes. I actually know a professor who lost her job at
fucking Tate even has a video on how to fucking sex traffic. Tate is a fucking god. Here's a video series. Tate has a video series on how to sex traffic women. What the fuck?
Universities for merely stating that there are two biological sexes. I actually know a professor who lost her job at Harvard over this.
I really want to know who this professor is, who he's talking about. And I want to look into the case. I'm curious what she actually lost her job for. And I fully admit it could have been a bad thing, because I have seen some departments that have conducted themselves in cringe and bad ways when it comes to issues of race and when it comes to trans issues. 100%. I am curious which one he's bringing up, though. And we've read some of them on stream.
Witnessing an epidemic of gender confusion spread through our schools, when people with their own eyes could see that this was a social contagion, being encouraged by the schools themselves. The ultimate fruition of which, in many cases,
Ivy League schools are mega schizo, unironically. Yes, but like, even at the school, this is what kids at Yale told me, because I went up to Yale to do a thing, right? Didn't I? Because I was talking to some of the student body there, and even those guys were telling me, like, the politically active students at Yale are insanely crazy. They are, but they're like 1% of the student body. Most students are not involved in this stuff. Even at like your activist colleges, it's like a very, very, very small percentage of the students are like super activists, and everyone just like goes to class and they walk by the cringe kids and they don't give a fuck. Even kids at Yale were telling me that. So like, I don't know, maybe in some places, maybe it's not like that, or maybe it is a bigger problem in some other places, but it's not like 90% of the student body is like crazy. Destiny, most people should push back then. Why? They're just kids that want to go to fucking class. Why the fuck would you want to try to fight the activist student body that could destroy your life?
is irreversible medical procedures. We've got an epidemic of teenage girls wanting double mastectomies, and some are actually getting them based on ideas being spread on TikTok. And any parent who resists this trend gets demonized and under certain conditions could lose custody of their kids. Well, congratulations, Democrats. You have found the most annoying thing in the fucking galaxy and hung it around your necks. I know people who haven't been touched by this issue personally, for whom it was the only issue that decided their vote. In fact, it is the issue that fully radicalized Elon, right? And he's spoken about this at length. Do you think Elon can
I agree with you, but to non-informed retards, those crazy progressives look like the thought leaders that represent the whole generation's viewpoint. Yes, but like, here's the problem. If you unplug yourself from conservative media and you just watch like center-left media, how much exposure are you getting to like the crazy, insane trans DEI people? Like, barely anything, right? Like, it's conservatives are the ones that are talking about this shit obsessively. Obsessively. I would say the height of like bad behavior from the left in the US, personally, I would say it was the Gaza Hamas fucking marches, that shit. That probably bled over into too many people. And I think they should have called that out more, for sure. I'm not saying the left is perfect, by the way. There's definitely issues. But the right is so good at playing this game.
continuously messaging to 200 million people on X and going to Trump's rallies and donating over $100 million to the campaign and supporting him on podcasts and doing everything else in his power to get Trump elected might have accounted for a few votes? Honestly, I think a doctoral dissertation, and perhaps several, could be written on how trans activism completely destroyed Democratic politics without most Democrats knowing. Of course, people will be doing an autopsy on this election for quite some time, but there is some polling already that suggests that cultural issues in general, and this issue in particular, were the greatest drivers of swing voters turning to Trump. For the purpose of this poll, a swing voter is defined as those who are undecided in the presidential race or who have changed their voting preference since 2020.
If they are obsessively talking about it at some point, you have to actually address it. I don't know a single Dem that has ever said anything about trans people in sports. I mean, like, you can address it, but then what? Like, that's not going to be enough, right? Oh yeah, I think this is dumb. Like, how many people still attack me as being a trans-obsessed crazy person, right? I'm not at all. Like, I literally got, like, how many times have we laughed at people like, oh, I bet you defend trans people all the time. It's like, I'm probably banned from Twitch for trans shit. So, if you disavow it, then they're going to say, well, how far do you disavow? Or like, it's not right. It's dumb.
Voting Democrat in one election and Republican in the other, or they were independents who had either indicated that they split their votes between Democrats and Republicans, or who hold either a favorable or unfavorable view of both Trump and Harris. Right, so these were the people whose votes were in play. And according to this poll over at blueprint2024.com, titled Why America Chose Trump, Inflation, Immigration, and the Democratic Brand, when you segment the respondents in this way, for these swing voters, the strongest predictor of a vote for Trump was their response to the following statement. Kamala Harris is focused more on cultural issues like transgender issues rather than helping the middle class. Right, so transgender issues are flagged as the example of progressive politics in the Democratic Party. Now, you might want to say that neither Harris nor Biden campaigned as a vocal trans activist, and that's true.
But staking out your boundaries on the issue prevents people from claiming you stand for some bullshit. Does it, though? Like, for 8 years, people claimed Obama was a communist. People claimed that Kamala Harris was a Marxist, communist, fascist, whatever Trump said. Like, does it really help if you stake these things out? I don't know. The media environment needs to change.
But honestly, if you wanted to account for Harris's loss and Trump's win in the briefest possible space, and also indicate the hold that the far left has had over Democratic politics and the Biden administration, I think it would be hard to do better than to juxtapose the following two facts. On his first day in office, President Biden signed an executive order ensuring that trans girls could have access to girls' restrooms, locker rooms, and girls' sports. It took him 2.5 years to sign an executive order addressing the chaos at the southern border. Why did he wait so long? Because the far left has always said that a concern about the southern border is racist.
I think Twitter is rotting your mind. Most people do not think that about Obama. I'm sorry, sir, but you are dead fucking wrong. Republicans, mainstream Republicans, Republican leadership, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Billy Cunningham, Glenn Beck, every radio talk show person, every Fox News person, Republican lawmakers. McConnell said we're going to make him a one-term president. Like, what are you talking about? People attack. You're insane. Okay.
What more needs to be said about the degree to which the Democratic Party and the Biden administration lost touch with the will of the American people? As for the topic of trans rights and gender dysphoria, what Harris needed to do, at a minimum, is express her understanding that this issue is complex, that there's a legitimate concern about social contagion, that in certain cases, there's a conflict between giving trans women and girls everything they want and protecting the rights of biological women and girls. And the jury is still out on many questions here, and policy in Europe has changed radically in recent years for understandable reasons, right? This topic is a total mess ethically and politically, and the orthodoxy among Democrats and in the elite institutions that they have influenced is that the trans activist line is the only ethical line to take. But the truth is, every shibboleth that came out of the far left in recent years contains within it the same recipe for the destruction of democratic politics. Each is like an evil hologram. I mean, take the term Latinx, Who was that for? Only 3% of Latinos are in favor of this silly rebranding of their ethnicity. Again, Trump did better among Latinos than any Republican in memory. Do you think it was because there wasn't enough identity politics rammed down their throats from the left? Do you think they just need to see
The
some...
Latinx shit was fucking cringe, but I feel like these issues were like more 5, 6, 7 years ago. Like, does anybody still say this today? I feel like I hear it every now and then, and it is cringe. But it's crazy to me that, like, Democrats have to be held to account for every single fucking one of these things, right? Why did you do much about this? Why did you do much about this? Why didn't you do this about this? Why did you talk about it? And then, like, meanwhile, Republicans are like, thankfully, the hurricane generating machine made a storm that was strong and big enough to blow away all the cats and dogs that the Haitians were eating. And now they've cleared a path for FEMA to come in and steal your homes while the federal government secretly occupies land in order to steal lithium from the state of North Carolina. And it's like, we talk too much about trans stuff, guys. We need to tone that down a lot, right? We need to do something about, or it's like, yeah, so Trump and his cronies literally hatched up like a sophisticated multi-part plan to steal the election, prevent the peaceful transfer of power, and even got a couple of Supreme Court cases to kind of like back them up to do it. Yeah, true, but like at Harvard, remember the one woman who got fired because she wouldn't use pronouns? Like, we got to control this shit on the left, guys. We're out of control, okay? We're destroying our vision. We're destroying the way the American public sees us. We have to do something about it. It's like, okay. Really? Like, the focus here is not right. The focus here is not right. Something is broken here. You can't live in conservative criticism. You can't live in that criticism and expect it to be successful. You can't do that. It's insane.
More white people admonished for the sin of cultural appropriation? You think another lecture about sensitive Halloween?
To be fair, that's not mainstream Repubs talking about the government made hurricanes and that FEMA is going to steal your home. Kind of like comparing the crazy train activists to mainstream Dems just saying, you are just saying that and you're fucking wrong and fucking retarded. Because Elon Musk now has a either cabinet equivalent position or some position in some new made up fucking fantastical thing in the government, one of the closest people to Donald Trump, and he was personally amplifying a lot of that on Twitter. So you're wrong and retarded, okay?
In costumes might do the trick. Much of Democratic politics has become...
Also, I'm sorry, fuck, there were literally Republican lawmakers that were saying things like this. So you're actually completely wrong. Because I remember Josiah was telling me about some, was it a House member in Florida that Biden like flew down and spoke with personally, who afterwards she was like, actually guys, I just learned about FEMA. They actually do help and they actually are good and we should like FEMA. Who am I thinking of? Somebody tell me who the fuck, Josiah had this name for me. Like, my God, Trump himself, Donald Trump himself lies about what fucking FEMA does. And Trump himself, like, you're so wrong. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I do. I know you. Whoever said that in chat, I hope you know that I personally hate you. Anna Pauline Luna. I only know the second name from Josiah, so unless he lied about me. What were her, And then she went back to shitting on FEMA immediately after. What was her? Did she make a tweet about it or say something? Hi, Disney. How are you doing since Trump won? Busy. I'm trying to find a whole bunch of people that can like, I guess like entrepreneurial people that are good at like managing businesses, because I need to be having a bunch of people that can go to auctions and shit for me, so that when the tariffs start hitting and you and your family have to start selling all of your businesses off because you guys are filing bankruptcy because you don't have enough money to stay in business, I can buy all your shit up and then run your business and brand all of it like for trans people only or whatever, and then make fun of you as you guys starve and lose your homes while I buy all of your businesses up as capital in America controls your life.
Guests are reeling from both.
That's me. I am the capital.
Here to tell us what they need to recover. Tana and Sean Anderson are co-owners of the Crescent Beach Market, and they join me now. Thank you both so much for joining us. You've been through so much with both of these storms. So, Sean, what did you think of the president's visit yesterday? And do you need anything to recover that you aren't getting right now?
Yeah, Carly, thanks so much for having us. Now, first of all, we're just thankful for everybody being safe. We're really sad that a lot of devastation happened. We do need things, but, the community has really come together to try and help each other out for the things we don't have. There's been a lot of gas shortages. Our neighbors are still without power. Fortunately, our side of the street has power.
Isn't the video not related to the article? Wait. Oh, shit, you're right. My bad. It's not every day that a member of the ultra-conservative House Freedom Caucus sits down to meet with the Democratic commander-in-chief, but national crises have a way of creating strange bedfellows. Representative Anna Pauline Luna, Republican from Florida, House of Representatives, told Fox News Digital she was not expecting a call late last week when her phone screen flashed with an unknown D.C.-based government number. When she answered, it was President Biden's voice on the line. Well, I did not expect that, so I talked to him on the phone for about 10 minutes. First thing that he asked me was, what do I need for my constituents? How did I fare? By the way, Biden did this with every governor as well, by the way, because that's what a real leader, that's what a real man, okay? That's what a real president of the United States does, as opposed to Donald Trump, who has in the past literally withheld aid from California in times of national disaster, okay? Which is what a weak, effeminate, loser, poor leader, subhuman piece of shit does, just to be clear. I did not expect that, so I talked to him on the phone for about 10 minutes. First thing he asked me was this, how do we fare with the storm, moving to issues, what about FEMA? First-term Republican, whose district was hit hard by Hurricane Milton last week, said she also met with Biden when he surveyed storm damage in Florida over the weekend. In both the conversations, Luna said Biden agreed with her that FEMA's $750 upfront payment to disaster survivors was inadequate. He said it was a bunch of malarkey, which is 100% true, and that $750 was not enough. Luna said, the pair met for an extensive discussion on a number of disaster aid reforms. Luna said, it's not a common to see political foes. I've obviously been very critical of President Biden in the past, but I will say that him stepping in and taking control of the situation just for the right reasons is very honestly kind of shocking to me. Obviously, we're still going to be holding FEMA accountable, but as far as I am seeing, FEMA has been very helpful, and I've been in direct communication with them, and they're absolutely going to assist because President Biden has told them to do so. Asked about their in-person conversation, Luna said that they talked about the situation in Georgia and North Carolina after Helene battered the American Southeast. One thing I really wanted to hammer home is obviously, FEMA getting debris cleared and really not holding the cities accountable for not being able to move debris in time, Luna said. So we sorted that out. She also advocated for reforming the National Flood Insurance Program, which Luna said, oh my God, this vacuum. I've already bought it. You don't need to advertise it to me, okay? I bought it already. I'm pretty sure after this call, though, I think she's right back to saying, actually, FEMA sucks and they're horrible and terrible and... So this lady who gave that article, okay, what was that, a month ago? Now this was 4 days ago.
$31 a month interest-free. Shop our incredible selection room by room and bring home dining sets like this or this. Just in time for the holidays. At Rooms To Go, you get both. Great sale prices and 50-month interest-free financing. Now during the Rooms To Go holiday sale.
Joining me now, Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. Congresswoman, this was infuriating when I first saw it. I know the Daily Signal broke this story. FEMA Administrator Deanne Daily Wire, and Deanne Criswell released a statement Saturday from FEMA saying, I want to be clear to all my employees, the American people, this type of behavior and action will not be tolerated. FEMA will hold people accountable. They violate these standards of conduct. Is that good enough for you, Congresswoman?
Not at all. In fact, I actually personally wrote Criswell a letter demanding answers, as well as Chairman Comer is asking her to come in and testify. I expect a full investigation, and I want to see emails because I don't think that this is just an isolated incident. To put it in perspective, Laura, my district was actually one of the hardest hit districts. We had 13 people die. A majority of my constituents had their claims denied with FEMA. And so I do believe that, as you saw, this was a very weaponized administration, and I do think that they know of more instances, but they're probably covering up for it. So it's our job to do.
A weaponized administration. When Biden personally called her and then met with her to chat about it, she says the administration weaponized FEMA.
To the bottom of it. Well, they were accusing former President-elect Trump of politicizing disaster relief when he was president. But, I mean, this is classic. I mean, this is literally playing with people's lives. And
that's literally what Donald Trump did, right? He did do that, right? Donald Trump did withhold FEMA aid from California, right? Trump refused to give California wildfire aid until told how many people there voted for him, X8 says. The aftermath of Hurricane Helene, former President Donald Trump is blasted by the administration for handling disaster, going so hard, blah, blah, blah. But also, we don't even need to read articles about this. Donald Trump has literally himself said that he will continue to do this. Donald Trump says withhold. He's literally said this. He's literally said this. Fuck, it was a speech that he gave on a little golf area. Fuck, he said it. I think it might have been with regards to California. Oh.
The campaign made a stop in SoCal today. Former President Donald Trump was
country needs right now. We are now 52 days away from directly to voters. At Rancho Palos Verdes at the Trump National Golf Course, former President Donald Trump had a few things to say about California.
California has the highest inflation, the highest taxes, the highest gas prices, the most illegal aliens, the most regulations, the most expensive utilities, and it ranks as the third worst state to start a business. It also has the most people leaving it.
The Republican nominee for president also criticized the government's response to the ongoing landslide in Rancho Palos Verdes. This after more than a week since Governor Gavin Newsom proclaimed a state of emergency in the community, giving the city state funding and support from the Office of Emergency Services. Trump also said he would withhold federal firefighting aid to California once he's in the White House.
Gavin Newsom is going to sign those papers, and if he doesn't sign those papers, we won't give him money to put out all his fires. And if we don't give him the money to put out his fires, he's got problems. He's a lousy governor.
Later in the
Like, you can't, bro, they pay federal taxes. You can't do that. Like, what a disgusting thing to say, bro. Are you serious? But, like, so Donald Trump, like, I don't even have to, we don't even need to go fucking find articles of the liberal libcuck media that you wouldn't trust. We can just, Donald Trump himself will say it. Like, it's crazy. That's crazy to me. That she'll say, oh, well, actually, the Biden admin, the guy that called me and flew down and spoke with me, they're weaponizing FEMA. But Donald Trump,
But I mean, this is classic. I mean, this is literally playing with people's lives and their property and their daily needs, basic necessities. I mean, they'll give anything that migrants want coming across the border, but some poor person with a Trump sign doesn't get help. It's shocking.
I mean, it's infuriating. We were hearing reports out of North Carolina that people were also being denied, and I think that's when I started kind of picking my head up and kind of listening to some of those claims, because again, you know, after the hurricane hit, Bethlehem melted here, Biden called down and assured that we would have all the assistance that we needed, but now you're finding that this was not just an isolated thing. I mean, this woman went as far as directing in person some of these people that were doing the claims to just ignore them, and that's simply unacceptable. I don't think that it was a conspiracy.
like, no offense, actually take offense, you hack fuck. You're a congressman. Why are you saying reports of? Go ask your constituents. Go do some actual fucking research. Call a fucking police officer. Call a sheriff person. Go to FEMA, the actual organization, the administration itself. Go to somebody in a government office. Go to, like, why not get some actual fucking evidence? Why am I hearing reports of? Who the fuck are you? It's some random dipshit on X? Some random retard on Twitter? Some random moron on Instagram? Like, you're a congressman. Get some information.
Theory. We know that President Trump was right, but I do think that outlets like the New York Times should retract their accusation saying that that was misinformation, because clearly we were correct, and clearly this is just more evidence that this administration, instead of focusing on people and Americans uniting the country, they're just further dividing us.
Congresswoman, I know you're in the House, but the Senate leadership fight that's going on, or it's a race, and it's a family fight. Thoughts about that, given what's at stake in a very short window that President Trump has to enact his agenda?
Make no mistake, Mitch McConnell is absolutely trying to knife Rick Scott and ensure that President Trump's agenda is blocked. Mitch McConnell has done more harm to this country than I would argue that Schumer has. And the fact is that Thune and Cornyn, if they really love
this is what this is why I fight against Hasan 5 years ago and still today, right? These are your MAGA Republicans. McConnell is one of your strongest establishment Republicans. Didn't Frank Luntz say that he like loves McConnell? Am I making this up? That he respects him more than any other person in lawmaking? Did Frank Luntz say that? Or is it Lutz? Like, this is one of your strongest, this is one of your strongest Republicans ever. And the idea that, like, yeah, your MAGA conservatives are like, yeah, McConnell, he's a fucking traitor. Fuck this guy. He's a piece of shit. Get him the fuck out of here. Damn, he talks about McConnell a lot in this.
Way through relationships and through keeping quiet rather than speaking up. And the louder that Donald Trump was, the quieter that Mitch McConnell got. And McConnell's was the correct strategy.
Unbelievable. Like, what's going on here? It must be a shotgun mic with bad sound rejection and an AC running in the background. You hear that? Why? Listen to it. You can hear the AC in the background. You can hear an echo in the room.
Was the quieter that Mitch McConnell got. And McConnell's was the correct strategy, not Trump's.
Well, it worked. Unbelievable. And you guys are like, go hire a sound guy. What is this? It's amateur hour in here.
For Trump.
It would have worked for McConnell in 2020. The Republicans won those seats in Georgia.
Anyway.
Wanted to back this president, they would stand aside and let Rick Scott be the majority leader.
Wow, Congresswoman, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And just ahead, Kamala spending disaster.